this first topic is kind of hard to talk about. I will preface that. Because I just think it shows a hypocrisy.
Mm.
I think it shows that you're playing into the hands of conspiracy theorists. And it's not a good look at all. So what we're referring to is kind of, I've seen some people throwing this around on Twitter, saying that this is like New Age McCarthyism.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to argue against it, in my opinion.
So
what we're referring to,
before we get into that, can we kind of explain a little bit?
Well, yeah, you
or
and I.
Do you want to do it and then we'll explain it?
This has to do with Israel. Am I saying that right? Is it Israel or Israel?
Israel and Palestine.
And Hamas and all that stuff. We've never talked about it on the show because I don't want to talk about it because I'm just not educated in everything that's going on there. But the things that I have learned and seen that's happened since what's happened between these two, I will just say I think it's an awful, horrible situation. And I think that showing your opinion of it, I'm sorry, but it's hard to look at what's happening there and not feel like what's happening to Palestine isn't right. And
It's been happening for decades, man.
I'm not trying
the
to
other
be
thing,
and
almost 100 years.
I just don't see how, based on what I'm looking at, and this is me just looking at it from the things that I've studied and the things that and again, I'm not, as I've said, I'm not very knowledgeable on it, but I've done enough research and understood enough of it to know that it's kind of hard to not see it as a genocide or see it as an ethnic cleansing where one side has an iron dome of missiles, controls water and gas, and tells you here's an escape, well, not an escape route, I guess, but there was a route designed for you to leave
that they immediately bombed.
Then you bomb it. It's kind of hard for me not to see that as a problem.
Well, yeah, and here's
and
the
not
other
say,
thing
hey, this seems like you are attacking a certain group of people.
Well, here's the other piece is
and Hamas is real. I'm not saying it isn't.
Throughout this period, ever since Israel came into existence in the 50s, there's been a lack of empathy and also coverage of the Palestinian plight. And when I was growing up in the 80s, there was a guy named Yasser Arafat, and he was a member, or he was the leader of this thing called the PLO, which is a Palestinian Liberation Organization. And he was considered by many a terrorist, including the United States. Here's what you guys need to understand, and this is very simple. Most of the right-wing conservative politicians who are out there, being super, pro-Israel, and you're like, that's weird, because they're usually, really bigoted against everything not Christian. You start to realize, wait a second, in the Bible, during Revelations, the very final book of the Bible, when the end of the world happens, for Jesus to return, Israel has to be a thing that he wipes off the map. One of the first things he does when he comes back, or the devil does it, I don't fucking know, but somebody does. So then you're like, well, wait a second. You're not really pro-Israel, are you, at all? You're pro-end of the fucking world. That's fucked up, dude. That's fucked up. Anyway, you have one group of people who has rocks and sticks.
Yes.
And you have the other one who has tanks and missiles and fucking machine guns. And body armor, and all I gotta say, dude,
too in the weeds.
I'm just saying that is why I feel the way I do, because when you break it down like that, and you realize that Israel was created out of the Holocaust, and you look at what Israel's doing to the Palestinians, and you realize that's what was trying to be done to you guys, and that's what makes me angry about Israeli foreign policy. I wish nothing but the best for all citizens of both countries. Because the politicians who aren't fighting the wars are the ones who are ordering these deaths. So fuck Netanyahu, okay? And fuck Hamas. Hamas?
Yes, Hamas.
Stop bombing the fucking regular people.
Sorry,
that's it.
It's complicated. It's exhausting
That's
to
where I'm
talk
at.
about, and I thought it was important to get that in front and kind of tell you where we're at. We both have talked about this, and I said it earlier, off the air. Was like, I think we can live in a world where I say I don't agree with what Israel is doing.
Yes.
I think what they are doing, and you can call it it's hard not to call it a genocide. And it's hard not to look at it as a genocide. It really is. And, yeah, like what you're saying.
You have people on Twitter referring to Palestinians as rats.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Which is what...
But my point is this. It's all fucked up.
Yes,
and
fair.
Like you said, it's this bullshit where when you break it down, it's insane that humans fight over things like land. And do this to each other over things like land.
Well, it's dudes in buildings who aren't even fighting. They're not being bombed. They're not dropping the bombs. But they're making the decisions.
All around.
Fuck that shit. Yeah.
And all together.
Yes.
You and I are, we don't want people to die, and we want it to stop.
Right?
Of course we want a fucking ceasefire. We want this to end. But that being said, that preamble, what we're here to talk about is Melissa Barrera, I believe. What we mean by this McCarthyism, she was the biggest story as we were recording here on Tuesday, November 21st. She was fired from Scream 7 for pro-Palestine posts.
Isn't she the one from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I don't think so. But she's most known for Scream 5 and 6, and she.
Well, I wouldn't fucking know her.
I have not watched.
I have never seen a Scream movie. Why the fuck would I care about Scream? Not her. Scream.
I know.
No, seriously. Hey, we're. Can you believe there's a new Scream movie? Fucking be still, my fucking beating heart, dude.
Hold on.
Is how I felt when that happened.
So I mean, she made a myriad of posts, and by the way, what you said about Scream, I agree. Scream 7. No, I like Scream 5. Scream 6, it was okay. People love it. I was like, I don't know. But my excitement is gone.
Point of order. Scream, the first one, was so groundbreaking and everything because it was from...
Scream
No. Point of order. Clive, what's his name? Clive Barker? Who's the... What?
It's Wes Craven.
Wes Craven, who's like, the god of like all horror movies and everything, rightly so, decided to take the horror genre and turn it on its head. Am I wrong? Isn't that what?
Am I wrong?
No, is that not the big draw of Scream? The first one was like, oh wow, I've never seen it, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But isn't that the thing? Now there's 7 of them. Guess what, dudes? You fucking became what you're. I mean.
So
how
anyway,
stupid.
They claim Spyglass, I think. Spyglass. Yeah, they said that they say that, quote, we have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism or the incitement of hate in any form, including false references to genocide, ethnic cleansing, Holocaust distortion, or anything that flagrantly crosses the line into hate speech. I've seen the posts, what could be the posts, and what some might consider be posts. Here's one of them. There was an Instagram story. I, too, come from a colonized country. And it has a flag. I don't know if she's... I'm trying to see the flag here. I think that's the Mexican flag. I'm not sure if she's Mexican. I don't want to assume anything. But that's what it looks like. Palestine will, all caps, be free. They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. So that's one of her posts. Here's another one.
That's not offensive to me.
Here's another one. I've been actively looking for videos and information about the Palestinian side for the last 2 weeks or so, following accounts, etc. Why? Because Western media only shows the other side. And why do they do that? I will let you deduce for yourself. Usually the algorithm on social media gets the gist. Well, my Discover page on Instagram will only show me videos showing and talking about the Israeli side.
Well, fucking supporting
Censorship,
Israel is
almost
big
done.
business.
Almost done. Censorship is very real. Palestinians know this. They know the world has been trying to make them invisible for decades. Keep sharing. Again, I don't think that borders into hate speech.
No.
At all.
Unless your company has a vested interest in fucking supporting Israel, which a lot of companies do in America. I'll let you guess why based on what I told you at the beginning of this segment. Seriously.
Also, to add to the problem of this, the director of Scream 7, Christopher Landon, talked about Melissa being fired, and he said, "This is not my statement. Everything sucks. Stop yelling. This was not my decision to make." So once again, showing that it's coming from a studio instead of the director himself. And again, going through these posts, it's just none of them to me. All she was saying was that she feels that there's a genocide going on. And again, sticks and rocks versus missiles and tanks. And one side can shut off your power and gas whenever the fuck they want to.
Yeah, how is that fucking fair at all?
Yes.
Like, even close to anything being... And how the fuck you could support that?
And what... And by the way, I just want to just point this out. What point do you want to send Hollywood where you have this studio... And now, not all studios are the same, but they usually tend to be. Spyglass, what message do you send by doing this to Melissa, who, again... are not bad posts at all. She's not saying anything anti-Semitic on the posts that I've seen,
right?
And I'm sure that, I'm sure there's some. I don't know how you look at those posts in particular, or what. I'd love to know what posts they're talking about.
Right. And
and then you let something like Noah Shep. Is it Shep or Schnepp? I want to make sure I get that right. He's on Stranger Things, and he's seen in a video with stickers that says Zionism is sexy. He's still got a fucking job at Netflix with Stranger Things.
Yeah, because he's pro-Israel.
And you know what else this does? This is going to help the fucking anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists that are going to fucking say, look, see, Jews control all the money, and look what they're doing.
They don't.
This is what I'm. This whole thing is so.
But you're
fucked.
right. Yeah.
And if you're gonna play that game, how are you gonna seriously? And I know again, Netflix and Spyglass are two different companies. They operate separately.
But
they don't. You're gonna tell me they don't talk to each other?
They're
and these
both
companies,
corporations.
Yeah. There's aren't agreements between these companies and chats because guess what? They license shows on Netflix.
I mean, it's very clear that they're...
And put their movies on Netflix?
It's very clear that it's one-sided. Okay, last night I saw a commercial during the Sunday night football game. I think it was last night. And it was a commercial, and it was like, hey, Jews account for like 2.4% of the U.S. population, but they're victims of hate crimes at like a 55% or something, the highest rate. Okay. And it was talking about showing the blue square to support to stop Jewish hate, which I'm all for that. I am absolutely for, I can't stand that when people are bigoted against Jews. It's just why? Where do you get it's been like throughout human history almost. They've always been just kind of shat on, and it's just like, what the fuck? I don't understand it, and it's not right. But being pro-Jewish people and, being safe and not fucked with is not the same, and it is separate from my distaste for Netanyahu and the fucking war hawks in the Israel fucking government.
And that's a problem. And that's a big problem is people take the idea of being
against
Netanyahu and against his government and against what he's doing as anti-Semitic.
Well, they
that's
conflate
bullshit.
the two.
Yes, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's ridiculous.
Well, also it's big money. If the more people that are confused about this, the more money somebody's making that shouldn't be making any more money.
The point is,
you know what we really
one more
need.
Thing.
Okay.
Well, Susan, this one's big because it's Susan Sarandon. She got dropped from her talent agency. I think it's UTA, due to her pro-Palestine
She's been
posts.
pro-Palestinian for years. Why now? Susan Sarandon is one of the, and Tim Robbins, her life partner, they're two of the smartest motherfuckers
we're seeing
in Hollywood.
More problems with this showing up, and then you know, like, I think the crazy thing about this to me is like Melissa Barrera, what she said, and what Susan Sarandon said have been nowhere near as insane as what fucking Amy Schumer has said.
Oh yeah.
Or what Sarah Silverman has said. You know what I mean? Like, they still there's yes, there was backlash to what they were doing and what they were saying, but you know they haven't any projects they didn't get kicked out of projects because of things they did.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's just a shitty situation because it's hurting people for needless reasons. They should not, like, this has been going on since what, World War II?
Yeah. Well, because
it just
part of the agreement at the end of World War II was that Israel would become a state, would become a real state.
And to think you get fired for saying, "Hey, I don't want innocent people to die."
You want to know why it took 10 years to happen? Because they were trying to find somewhere for it. And according to the Bible, was right smack dab in the middle of fucking this country called Palestine, which doesn't exist anymore. It's called the Gaza Strip or the West Bank.
Yeah.
But Palestinians exist. And whether they have a state of their own or not doesn't change the fact that they are being oppressed by the Israeli government.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing to me that there aren't more soldiers on the Israeli side saying, I'm not going to shoot a fucking kid. But a lot of them don't seem to have any problems with that because they're Palestinian kids. How fucked up is that thinking, dude?
Oh, yeah, the propaganda that gets fed to these people is sad. It's sad.
If U.S. is getting invaded, sure. But one thing, if U.S. is getting invaded and I'm on a wall, and the only way that I can prevent the invasion is by shooting a kid of another country, I'm going to be like, you know what? I think we're just going to get invaded. That's why I'm not in the military. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.